December 17th. I want to thank everybody for joining us for City Council this evening, whether you be here in chambers or with us out watching on the internet or on TV. I'd like for us to observe a moment of silence as we call the meeting to order, continuing to remember Mary Allball in our prayers. I do understand that she has returned home, which is good news. And then also we want to remember Pam Bucklew as well, one of our very own council ladies here. Both council ladies we need to remember in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you very much. Mr. Rigger, would you do the honors for us tonight?
I'll be glad to. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We've got a couple of recognized guests this evening. I'd like to turn to, we're trying something new this evening. We've got a presentation of our VIPS members. They are they're virtually visiting with us from the Public Safety Complex training room. And so we'll turn the camera over to them. There's Chief Gregory and there's Steve Wyckoff.
Thank you for having us this evening. I appreciate your time. I know you guys are very busy. I just wanted a little bit of time this evening to recognize our VIPS members for everything they've done this year. Included in your little packets should be our 2020 annual report. And it details the events that we had this year, our statistics, hours volunteered, and so on and so forth. We started 2020 with 12 members. Did not have any deactivations this year, and gained 3 more in August, so we're up to 15 right now. We're still working on our training, enhancing our training and getting everything in line with CALEA, so we can assist Chief Gregory in the department, and also we're keeping current with FEMA and NIMS regulations as well. The number of events that we've helped with dropped drastically this year, simply due to the pandemic. Normally, we assist with 120 to 130 events per year, including Strawberry Festival. And this year, we only assisted with 78. We had 63 events that were canceled. And 27 of those 78 that we attended were health-related, public health-related events, such as COVID testing drive-thrus, flu shot clinics, and so on. In total, the group volunteered over 1,515 hours, which is about half of what we did in 2019. But that still allowed officers to tend to other situations during those times that we were on duty, and potentially saving the city extra 10 hours or overtime for those officers. In addition to certificate of appreciation that the department presents to the VIPS members, we also work with the Presidential Volunteer Service Award. This is a national award that's detailed on the last few pages of the packet. And at certain hour increments, members are able to receive a letter from the President, a certificate, and also a pin that is related to the number of hours they've had each year. Unfortunately, we did not have anybody hit gold status this year, which is 500 hours or greater for the year. We did have one silver recipient, which was myself, with 396.5 hours for the year. Next, we had Jewel Fisher with 143 hours for the year. David Rowan, 166 hours. Phyllis Siskey, 196.5 hours. Vito Siskey, 213.5 hours. And Andy Cartier, 141 hours. And then on page 2 of your packets is a breakdown of the hours that we've had for all this stuff. At this time, I'd like to individually recognize each VIPS member for their efforts this year. And I'd like to call those up one at a time, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Jewel Fisher. We'll be presenting Jewel with a certificate of appreciation and a silver Presidential Volunteer Service Award. Thank you very much. David Rowan also received the Presidential Volunteer Service Award and certificate of appreciation. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Anita and Scott Coleman. Unfortunately, Anita could not make it this evening, but Scott is here. And I'd like to present both of those for certificate of appreciation as well. Thank you. Thank you. Linda Coleman and Paul Coleman. Unfortunately, Paul could not be here this evening, but Linda is here. And I'd like to call her up to receive the certificate of appreciation as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Dillon, unfortunately, is not here tonight, but he is a member of this as well. I'd like to call Evelyn Siskey, who received a Presidential Volunteer Service Award, as well as her certificate of appreciation. Thank you very much. Vito Siskey, again, received the President Volunteer Service Award, certificate of appreciation. Thank you, sir. Andy Cartier is not here this evening. Morgan Fox is not here this evening. Brittany Wood is not here this evening. Alan Dash is not here this evening. He is actually volunteering with the American Red Cross right now, disaster relief efforts, and will be back in the area on December 20th. And last but not least, Cindy Mcdonald, one of our new members this year. Thank you very much for the appreciation as well. Thank you very much.
The Mayor, if I could also present Steve Wyckoff with his certificate.
Thank you.
And on behalf of myself and every member of the Buckhannon Police Department, I would like to send a most heartfelt thank you to each and every single one of our business members. I've said this repeatedly. You all are an invaluable asset to not just the police department, but our entire community. You truly go above and beyond and all that you so freely give. And my hat is off to each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you do for us. I appreciate it.
Well, I think we here in council chambers, we echo what you just communicated, Matt. There are many events that our community has in a non-COVID year that we definitely could not successfully pull off without the dedicated members of the VIPS. And I know that they enhance the police department and they enhance our community by their service to us. And we appreciate everything that they do for us. And I think it's important every year that we make sure that we pause to recognize their service here and their assistance to you as the police department. So thank you to everybody that's involved with the VIPS. we greatly appreciate you. We're sorry we couldn't have you here in council chambers personally, but we're glad that we could set this up this way so that we could witness the ceremony and we could speak to you in the next best of face to face.
This is Dave Thomas. I echo everything the mayor said, and we need to have a cookout for the event someday.
Can we do it at your house?
We'd be great.
I'll even cook.
So, anybody else have anything? Or,
Just thank you for all you do.
yeah.
Just fantastic. Just never ceases to amaze me the willingness of our community members. So this is a great organization. And Steve, thank you for your leadership. I know the chief appreciated it, we do as well.
Thank you. It takes a great team to make a good leader. So I have a great team below me, and they're tremendous. I couldn't do it without them.
Thanks again, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And ladies.
Thank you.
Matt, we'll talk to you here in a little bit when you get ready to give your report, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to just confirm, is that you, Pam, that has joined via phone? If you called in, can you please state your name?
Yes, it is. Did you hear me?
Yeah, no, I did it before, but thank you. I thought it was you.
The birthday girl has arrived.
Happy birthday,
Yeah,
Pam.
happy birthday.
Thank you. My brother had called me long distance. That's why I wasn't on there. Sorry.
All right. Up next, under our recognized guests, we've got Dennis. He's bringing us some information from the Upshur County Parks and Recreations Advisory Board.
Mayor, Council. This is a report from the Upshur County Parks and Recs Advisory Board for 14 December 2020. The meeting was conducted by phone and it opened at 5:30 on 14 December 2020. It was reported that at the November meeting of the BOE, the Board of Education, the subject of part of the proposed course for the disc golf was brought up because a small corner of the course would be on the Board of Ed property. After a formal vote, the Board of Ed, that's they, agreed to let the course stay on that piece of property. Sponsorship for one hole will be $400 and it will cover everything for said hole. We are looking to install the course in the spring and we will have updates at the next meeting. There will be maps on the kiosks showing the trails. Since bike enthusiasts mount their bikes in a hurry, there will be small decks built so they can practice jumping on their bikes without hurting themselves. The cost of all the practice decks is about $300 and it all came out of the trails budget. This will be on the County Commission agenda in January 2021. The financial reports for both groups, that's Trails and Parks, were accepted and both are in good standings. There are 2 kiosks in the city limits that the city has requested permission to use so their information can be on the backside. There was a motion and a second and it passed unanimously in favor of. The last item, since William Squires has not attended in over a year, it was voted to remove him from the board. Since he was a city appointee, the city is now free to appoint someone else. Respectfully submitted by Dennis P. Cordes.
Okay. Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you.
Okay. Down to our department and board reports. We'll start off with Callie Cronin-Sands, our information coordinator and grant researcher. Good evening, Callie.
Good evening. Thank you. You'll have my report in your packet and just work my way through. You see the posts that we made on social media. I've been over on the left-hand side. I've been working with Jeff and the waste department and the waste board on our bulky goods, updating that draft. I think I've got it pretty close to final now and sent that out for approval today from those folks. Designing a watershed sign to replace the one that's been missing at the Riverwalk for quite a while, and in conjunction with the Watershed Association. Working with Randy on the World Association of Marching Show Bands event proposal, and we're crossing our fingers on that one. Hopefully good news soon. Researching and creating some content for social media, reminding folks not to flush wipes. That has been a problem for some time, but now in addition to that, we're finding that people are flushing gloves and masks and other PPE associated with the pandemic. So working with Buck on getting out some PR or content on that to remind folks that even if they claim to be flushable, please do not flush those. That really, it's not great for our system. Putting out some alerts about increased scam activity, and then just continuing to update and maintain our website and social media and running these go-to meetings, etc. With grants, again, working with the Watershed Association with that Stream Partners grant, for which is going to that sign. If there's remaining CARES Act funding, then we would submit for December, but we'll see. They were close to running that down for what was allocated for counties and cities. And the path route, we had our grant funder that was to come down yesterday, but we've rescheduled that tour of the path route since the weather was so nasty. And you can see what's up on the LED with the Christmas around the world. And that's what I have, unless you have any questions.
I know that I sometimes don't always remember to thank you, but I appreciate you setting up all the go-to meetings. I don't really know how to do that, so I appreciate you doing that. And every time we have a meeting, I appreciate you. You always send me the link and say, "Here you go. Here's for the next meeting." So certainly, I know that all of the folks that participate virtually appreciate it too.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and certainly Jay Holland has been very instrumental in that, as well as Randy and Amby. So it's a team effort along with everything around here.
Got a great team.
Thanks, Callie. If there are no questions, we'll continue on. I hope I see you before, but if I don't, since the conditions we're in, I hope you and your family have a very Merry Christmas. All right. Public Works Director Jerry Arnold. Has he joined the meeting yet?
Yes.
Okay, he has. Good deal.
Yeah, sure.
I am here. Good evening, everyone. I continue to work on the North Spring Street project schedule. I'll have that finalized. I will meet with the supervisors. Our first supervisors meeting in January, so I'll be submitting that on the first meeting of January to all the council members. We've met with the gas company, and they're going to replace some of their facilities along with our project on North Spring Street. I've contacted Mountaineer Gas and have the gas service restored at the theater, and actually just completed updating the evaluation spreadsheets for each department, and I emailed those out this evening. Under the street department, the street crew has completed the sidewalk on Apothecary Way, and the crew returned to the Gateway West project this week. Completed the Travis Foster lots, the curbing in it, and we have had a crew on and off during some of the bad weather we've had, laying some block in the basement of the theater. The sewer department, crew one's continuing to work on the 33 West Northside project. They're working on a creek crossing there. Crew two made a sewer tap on the Hall Road and working on street cuts and line maintenance. The maintenance crew painted the garage interior and replaced HOA switches on the TJM pump station and replaced seals on the belt press. And the plant, all the tests were within normal range. Water crews repaired a couple weeks and assisted in the second startup attempt of the industrial park pump station. Waste had a transmission fail, one of the waste collection trucks, and it's been replaced and back in service. And under engineering, Jay continues to work on the FEMA generator grants. for the first of the year final submission deadline. And Mayor, other than wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and all the employees, thanking them for everything they do day in and day out, that's all I have unless there's questions.
When do you think we probably, now that we've completed the sidewalk on the new street, need to get probably some directional paint on there, since it goes right up against the drive-through at CVS, and then we should be able to have an idea to set a sign installment and a ribbon cutting, I guess, or ceremony to open the street here pretty soon. Am I correct?
Yes, I went ahead and instructed the guys to put the stop sign up at Main Street. We still have to put the street sign post up, and I'll have to order the street sign. But as far as painting, there's some other painting on Spring Street. I actually ordered some faster drying painting to put on the lower temperatures for the corner there of Spring Street. We've been having some issues with delivery vans parking and actually causing a hazard there for vehicles to get around as they enter onto South Spring Street. So we're going to paint that curb down a little further. And I've ordered some paint for that. And as soon as the curb dries, we'll be able to take care of that. And hopefully we'll get a day here shortly that we can paint those directional errors and the back lane for that new street as well.
Sounds good. Hey, speaking of street signs real quick, I got a request. The Crisis Pregnancy Center that used to be on Randolph Street, they've moved to Meta Street, and they say that some folks are having a hard time locating Meadow Street, and the sign is pretty faded that comes off of Route 20. If we're not going to put up the new style street signs in that section, could we go ahead and replace the green signage on Meadow Street, one at the end where it meets Route 20, and then one over by Franklin Street, just that way people can find it more easily?
We probably have those material to make those green signs in our old stock. So yeah, we can go ahead and get that in the works. We do have intention of replacing all the signs with the new style, but again, timing and hopefully with this property acquisition and getting this weld shop up and going, we'll be a little more quick in turning this on hotel.
Okay. For the time being, can we just go ahead and put the green signs up at those two intersections?
We sure will.
Okay, thanks.
Jerry, we had a meeting with the highway department relative to planting flowers and or trees in the Route 20, Route 33 interchange areas. And we were given the go-ahead to submit a proposal for those plantings, and then there'd be a back and forth review of that. In conjunction with that, we also asked about planting flowers in the median. If any of you have driven down around Fayetteville on Route 19, you've seen them for several miles there. So it's a different department. The DEP runs Operation Wildflower, but we found out that it's $600 per acre for a 3-year period. And Jerry and Jay Holland calculated that if we did the 7 miles from Kiesling Mill to the top of Buckhannon Mountain, I think, Jerry, is that right?
Yes, it's right there at Falls Run intersection, and that's a 10-foot wide strip on that whole entire length.
Yeah, 7 miles, a 10-foot strip, the 3 years, and it would be about $5,700 or $1,900 a year. The application deadline for 2021 is February 1st. It's not on the agenda tonight, but maybe our next meeting, we can take action on that if the council desires to.
Great idea, CJ.
Yep.
And then, Jerry, I don't know if there was a deadline for the proposal for planting. but it's something that we probably ought to get started on at some point.
I don't think there was a deadline, CJ. Again, I think that, they were agreeable to the areas, most of the areas that were mentioned, and I would like to include Dixie in that, as well as, the Create group. Buck Edwards would be a great one, to plug into that as well, to identify the species that we can plant, put into that plant that we submit to them. So possibly after the holidays, we can get together and do that.
Great. Thank you.
Jerry, this is Dave Thomas. I have a question. I didn't hear quite everything you said. When is Smithfield going to be scheduled again for the street?
We are shooting to reschedule for spring, Dave. We don't anticipate having, with the ground crews, we don't anticipate having a couple days together that it's going to be over 60 this winter now. So we're looking at spring before we'll get that taken care of.
I think we should put that on our website so that people are aware of that. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.
Randy, do you want to go ahead and make a note to put a line item on the agenda for in January for the wildflowers and the median on Route 33?
Sure will.
Thank you. That way we don't forget. That was a good idea. Thanks, Jerry. Hope you and your family have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir.
Merry Christmas, Jerry.
All right.
Thanks, Dave.
Finance Director. I was going to call you Miss Cardinal.
I do look like a cardinal. A Christmas cardinal. Okay. Well, I was glad to hear about what we might be doing out at 20. I drive in that way, and that's one of the first things you see if you're coming into this town a lot of times, and I'm glad to see that because it's kind of stark industrial look right now. Okay, so your balance is November 30th. I always give you the entities the second half of the month. Waste Collection Board, $675,238, and the CD at $58,033. Water Board Money Market Checking, $213,578, and CDs at $965,476. Sanitary Board Money Market Checking, $558,338, and CDs $253,190. The bills in your packet to be approved worth noting are Loudon Insurance, and I'll explain this a little later, but $5,775 for flood insurance for the new property we're getting ready to close on. Central Supply, $5,120 for concrete at the Gateway West project. $3,000 to George Wilson to replace that outside gym door at the Stockert Youth Center that was broken. We spent $3,579 to Argos USA for the bulk cement for the new cement truck. We've been dealing, Teresa, Tom, our bond counsel, Steptoe & Johnson, myself, the bank, we've been exchanging lots of emails the past couple of weeks getting ready for this closing of the Mudlick property that should happen on Monday, given we don't have any other issues back and forth. We had to look at the property. The bank wants flood insurance on the property because the county maps indicate a flood zone where this property's at. However, that area has not been studied. So immediately I took this information to our floodplain manager, and he saw some discrepancies right away. And he contacted a surveyor in FEMA. And so the long story short of this, with some conversations, all of those buildings are well out of above the base flood elevation, respectively. 6, 7, and 8 foot above the base flood elevation. However, we've got to get a letter of map revision in order to avoid purchasing the flood insurance. So we plan to do this process, but we've got to close soon. So we have to get the flood insurance in order to complete this closing on the property. So rather than add the cost onto the loan, we thought it would be best to pay for it And then we'll end up getting a refund on the flood insurance once we get that letter of map revision submitted and approved. And Jay's going to help with all of that. We submitted, the county notified me about a week ago that we had some funds left to draw down on. So I notified for the COVID issue. Well, they got their money through the governor, and then we get it through them. It's kind of a third party. But yes, so we notified all the supervisors, anything that they need, get stocked up on. So we submitted an invoice to them for $4,500, and that takes care of some masks and cleaning supplies. We did get a computer for in this room here because the one we're using is not the best in the world. I think
Start this one.
you've got that's yours. Well, as you can see, the computer is out of service here. So we got that on the list of things we needed to. Let's see what else. We just as a quick note, Public Service Commission sent a draft of rules for the water and sewer departments. So we're working on some comments there because some of them impact how we operate our offices quite a bit, and we do have some comments to make on that. I'll keep you updated. I've updated the water and sewer departments, but it would affect the operations in the office if they go through as they are. Tom's going to bring up the COVID policy that's being updated tonight. And as our attorney can vouch, this is a constantly changing ordeal with the pandemic and how we operate here. The city of Buckhannon's had positive cases and or exposures in every critical infrastructure we've got at some point in time since March, and that's our water, sewer, garbage, police, fire, waste. It's been stressful at times working through those departments to keep them up and running. But I want to let you know, the employees and the volunteers have been great to continue to work. Better than 90% of our employees and staff are essential workers, and they have to continue to work. Unless they've been tested positive or unless they've got symptoms, they have to continue to work. They wear their PPEs and they come to work. And whatever we ask of them, they do it. We tell them, come to work, wear your mask, social distance, monitor for symptoms, and keep working, and they show up every day, and we've been doing this for 9 months. It's times you think, oh my, we're gonna have issues, we need to get recruitments to help pick up the garbage, or all of our departments, each department's equally critical in the service they offer, and I wanted to let them know how proud I am of how they're handling the situation. And we know there's many companies, stores, and organizations out there doing the same thing. We thank them all. So as we near the end of 2020, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I know by this time next year, we're going to be celebrating it a whole different way, and I cannot wait. So that's my report tonight.
I wanted to add, Andy, I spoke with Sam Nolte, County Commissioner, today, and they had some excess funds in a CARES money, I believe, and they ordered a meeting owl for the city, which they'll be giving, which they'll be turning over, and that allows us to integrate live people, well, not that they're dead on Zoom, but people in a meeting and integrate with Zoom meetings. So,
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad they did
well,
that.
thank the county commission.
Well, thank the county commission. We thank you for that.
Thank you, Abby.
All right. Merry Christmas, Amby, and thank you for your report.
Merry Christmas, Andy. Thank you.
All right. Police Chief Matt Gregory, is he still reporting live from the Public Safety Complex?
He will be.
I'm still here, Mayor. I'm just on audio at this point.
Okay.
Don't have too much additional to report tonight, other than to inform council that we received notification here over the last few days that James Fisher, our newest police officer that we hired back in October, was invited to begin the police academy on January 25th, which was great news. I was convinced that he was, just because of the waiting list that is currently there that he wasn't going to attend in the spring. So very welcome news that we received from Charleston. He'll begin training on January 25th. It is the bubble, meaning that when he reports there, he stays there for 10 weeks straight, and at which time his training will conclude at the beginning of April. When he returns back to us at that time, he'll begin 12 weeks of field training with the police department. And other than that, obviously work continues on Kalia. We're rounding out work for 2020. Got everything polished and in preparation for the web assessment, which is right around the corner now. That will be in February, and then the on-site again will be in April. So I'm in regular communication with the regional program manager and CLIA staff in preparation for this final phase of self-assessment leading toward accreditation early in 2021. And Mayor, that's all I have to report on from the police department unless there's questions.
Matt, I'm looking at your officer incident citation report, and I noticed that the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday following Thanksgiving, we issued 53% of the total monthly citations, 23 total. And I wondered if that was by design, or was that someone working the Governor's Highway Safety Program, or why would half of them be in 3 days?
Yeah, that was not by design from the administration of the police department. As you know, we do not have a quota of any sort that we do not follow with the citations that the officers issue. Officers do still work Governor's Highway Safety hours, focusing on different highway safety initiatives, everything from seatbelt, cell phone, stop sign, and speeding enforcement. And I know that in the past, with different highway safety initiatives, they do emphasize heightened enforcement over holiday periods, just to emphasize safety in that regard. So what you're looking at there is a result of the officers working highway safety hours and not an initiative from the administration of the police department.
Thank you.
Anything else for Matt?
Yes, Robbie Dave Thomas. Hey, Matt, have you had any citizens calling you or any of the officers about young people congregating sometimes up at the airport?
I have not on the airport, no, sir. We've had just different incidents with different juveniles over the last couple months in different parts of town that we're actively dealing with, but I've not heard anything from the airport.
Okay, I've had a couple of people ask me about it. I said call Matt and let him know what's going on, so they haven't called yet. Yeah, I've had complaints about the walk trail at the college with young juveniles scaring people sometimes, unfortunately.
Yes, we've unfortunately had a couple of incidents here the last couple of weeks with some cars getting broken into at the walk trail. We're actively responding to that, investigating those incidents. Through that, just a reminder to folks to not leave valuables in their cars, make sure that their cars are locked at all times when they're not with them. But we had a couple of those types of incidents that we're actively responding to. And I think beyond that, as you were saying with the airport, certainly anybody with information or that has a complaint about certain happenings at different places in town, absolutely welcome the call. I encourage you to call that information so that we can actively follow up on each of those.
All right, thank you, Matt.
Matt, Pam here. I wanted to know how the new dog is doing.
New dog is doing tremendous. We, through coordination with our task force just recently, we were able to effect a felony arrest of a subject bringing an amount of heroin from Tennessee. into our town, and the dog was of great assistance on that particular incident, leading to the recovery of the drugs, as well as leading to the arrest. The dog has been deployed on a number of other traffic stops, and again, we're seeing a lot of success across the board, and hope to continue to see that. I'm sure we will. It's a very great dynamic that we're seeing between our officers, the K-9 unit, as well as the task force, and I believe it's really going to continue to make a very positive difference for our community.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Matt. Merry Christmas to you and your family. And
Thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody as well.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
we wish all the officers and their families the same, and we hope that they stay safe.
Thanks for what you do, Matt, along with the officers.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Tom, do you have a report, or do you want to defer to strategic?
Let me report on one thing, and then
Okay.
we've got, of course, a matter to take up under strategic, and then a matter for executive session. The matter I'd like to mention at this point has to do with the sanitary board, who this afternoon gave final approval to the surcharge on the Old Weston Road sewer extension project. That will now come before council in the form of an ordinance to amend the sewer tariff. That will be prepared for council's consideration and vote. It'll be a 3-reading ordinance, and that first reading will be on the agenda for the next meeting, the first meeting in January. This is the surcharge for the project on the north side of Border H and the new customers along that extension line. That project has gone in, and I believe it's all but complete at this time. So just be aware of that, and it will be coming to the members of the council at the next meeting.
Thanks, Tom.
That is all, unless there are any questions.
All right, we'll take up a few items here just shortly with you under strategic. Under your consent agenda, we've got the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of 12/3, approval of building and wiring permits, approval of payment of bills, acceptance of a resignation of Greg Popovich on the Zoning Board of Appeals, and then approval of the appointment of Corey Roselle on said Zoning Board of Appeals. I'll entertain a motion that we approve our consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilman Rylands. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Rigger. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Pam, are you there?
Yes, aye.
Okay. All those opposed, like sign. Motion has carried. Okay. We are down to strategic issues for discussion and or vote. Under F1, I believe we'll bring Amby up to discuss this with us. We have a request from the Upshur Buckhannon Health Department for office space.
Yes, Sue McKissick gave me a call a couple weeks ago. They are in preparation of hiring another sanitarian and a couple of nurses, and they're running out of space in their small building. So they asked if we had any areas that they could temporarily set up, temporary is in a couple years, set up for desk space, computers, and phones for the sanitarian and one other employee. I told them I would bring that to council for their decision to make. Just as a comment, Health Department works really well with us. They work with our housing enforcement officer and go with us on calls that related to that. And they're always great to coordinate vaccines for our employees, and as of late, actually, the COVID vaccine. So for council's discussion and opinion of that, I might just comment, again, the property that we're getting ready to acquire has got 10 offices in it. Jerry was with me when I was talking to her, and he kind of concurred the same thing, but it's up to council. They're willing to pay rent.
Do they have a timeline as to what they're when they? I mean, sooner the better, I assume.
Yes, they're kind of trying to coordinate. They got the sanitarian getting ready to come on and 2 nurses soon, like is in early this upcoming year. So the sooner the better. I'd have to have her look at the space. She may not like any of the space that we have and may have to go somewhere else. They mentioned the basement here, but I've got storage down there. I've got some records down there, and there would be public access to the sanitarian here. So I didn't really feel comfortable with constant access to my basement area where I have things that I just don't, you have
Well,
to
and if we get to a point that things should get worse, and we need to continue to separate people out, we may need that space down there too.
Yeah, we've done that. We've kind of utilized it for part of our staff before, but yeah, it makes it a little more.
How many of the 10 offices did we have designated for our use?
Jerry, are you still on the phone? From my understanding, he doesn't need all the office space.
Well, Andy, I think you should work with Jerry on this. I think anything that the city can do to work at a commission would be helpful.
Okay, I can do that.
Jerry's
Bring that back to you.
Jerry's still on there.
Yeah, I'm still here. I've already taken a look at it. I think we can do it.
I don't think his connection's real good, but
Too good.
I'll talk to him.
either that or Don's already fixed him a stiff drink. And
In general, you're agreeable for me to work with him and let her look at this space?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's take that route before we actually, when we have something set up, then we'll take a formal motion and approve it. But let's see if we can work with the new space or something outside of our basement.
Yep, that sounds good to me.
Great.
Okay, good deal. Thank you for that, Andy. But you might as well just, we've got F2 property at Mudlick Road. We've already talked about that. We don't need to take any action on it. We're already there. So we've already discussed that.
Technically all sort of building commission. This is all building commission work, but it's your property really. I mean, building commission / city property, so you need to be aware of everything that's going on after the closing. Yeah.
Okay. This ought to be good. Jerry said, "I'm not drinking yet."
I'm saying the same thing.
All right. I don't believe that for a second. Okay. F3, this is a matter for our city attorney, Mr. O'Neill. This was discussed briefly by Amby earlier, but we need to go a little bit more in depth with this with Tom. This is a COVID-19 employee policies update. We'll defer. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I think this is, so what you have in your packet, it's on the very last page. It is a memorandum, a draft memorandum drafted as being from council to the employees related to an update to the city's approach to its written COVID policies. And frankly, Mr. Mayor, it's probably just easiest if I just read the memo in its entirety. It's relatively brief. Then we can take questions from there if that's all right.
Sure.
Okay, so this is a memorandum from City Council to all city employees dated December 17th, 2020 regarding updates to city COVID testing and return to work policies. To all our valued employees, over the past several months, the City of Buckhannon has responded to the varied and changing challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic by taking measures and implementing policies intended to protect employee safety and the health of the public. Appropriately, the city's approach in dealing with issues regarding COVID testing, the risks of exposure in the workplace, employee travel, and remaining safe when dealing with the public has changed from time to time as information and guidance from national, state, and local public health authorities has evolved. In order to keep the city's written policies current with the most up-to-date public health guidance, a change of approach is now warranted. Instead of the city having its own adopted specific written policies on COVID-related issues, the city will instead adopt and follow the published guidance from national, state, and local public health authorities as that guidance is issued by those authorities. Therefore, any existing city policies related to COVID-19 testing, including return to work testing and the clearance of any person who has been exposed to COVID-19 or has tested positive for the disease to return to work, or any other issue directly and proximately related to COVID-19 are deemed amended and modified to reflect the published guidance of the United States Centers for Disease Control, the West Virginia Bureau of Public Health, the Upshur Buckhannon Health Department, or any other authorized public health agencies, as that published guidance may appear and be amended from time to time. Any questions related to this action should be directed to department supervisors and the city's designated human resources representative. The genesis of this memorandum for your consideration tonight has been the fact that the city's ability to keep on top, keep its written policies updated with the most current guidance is sometimes, it's hampered by a couple of factors. Most importantly, the fact that this guidance is often, and with the advent of, now in the next 24 hours, by 2 vaccines, with others, soon to come, and other changes in guidance that have occurred, the shortening of the amount of time that individuals who are direct exposures are required to isolate themselves. It's been difficult for the city to keep up with all of the changes. So instead of the city just kind of re-adopting all the published guidance on its own, the approach would be to just say our written policy is the policy as published by these public health authorities, as those may be amended from time to time, so that the council is not put in a position where its written policies may be a little out of sync with the most recent guidance, which is something that we've had to deal with in the last few weeks. That is what this is about, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
I have a question, Tom.
Okay, you're going to need to speak up. I can't
This is Jack.
get a microphone.
I have a question. As far as the order of hierarchy, federal, state, and local, it will follow the hierarchy of federal will trump state, state will trump local. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
generally speaking. I mean, we're not seeing that these things are really particularly in conflict with each other, but the federal may speak to certain issues that the state, and frankly, often the federal guidance is going to say in and of itself that at times that the circumstances in a particular state may warrant a different approach. So while strictly speaking, yes, federal, state trumps state, which trumps local, the federal guidance may be, hey, follow your state guidance, for more detail.
Right.
But yes, I mean, generally speaking, you're correct.
Right. Well, I'm aware of a health department, not Upshur County. I'm going to stress it was not Upshur County, but I'm aware of a health department that actually did an overreach and would have seriously hurt a business who had one employee that tested positive for COVID. And the health department overreached and pretty much demanded the company shut down.
Yeah.
And that was well beyond the governor's mandate. And that's why I'm asking the question or posing it, just to ensure that there will be no overreach,
No, and I think that under the West Virginia Constitution, any local guidance is trumped by state requirements. So as a practical matter, that the order of hierarchy that we're really likely to see is first state, then federal, then local. And to the extent that a local guidance is going to be stricter than state guidance to the detriment of the city, I think we would follow the state mandate.
Thank
Because
you.
under state law, the Bureau of Public Health trumps a local health department.
Any other questions or comments for Tom regarding F3? Tom, thank you for your work on this. I wholeheartedly support this. I think it just clears up a lot, and it allows us to be consistent. I'm sorry, Dave?
We need to make a motion on it?
We do, yes. Are you making one?
I'll make that motion except what Tom had read to us, yes.
Okay. We have a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Motion or
Thank you all.
I guess that's this.
Yes, it was time. It was time.
Shut up. All right. Okay. We are, Merry Christmas, Tom. We have to wish you Merry Christmas too. So,
That's funny.
Thanks.
and congratulations to your wife for her position with the school system.
Oh, thanks. I'm proud of her. She's going to be great.
What's the position? I haven't heard.
She's now she's the secretary to the superintendent.
Good.
All right. We are down to council comment and an announcement. CJ.
Well, I'd like to wish the best to Pam Bucklew and Mary Albaugh, both dealing with some health issues. Wish everyone Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope that 2021 has some better things to hold for us. I'd also strongly advocate for the wildflowers in the median. A lot of the questions we've been asking for 10 years of the highway department, the answer has been no. And at this most recent meeting, it turned to yes and maybe. So I'm optimistic that we can do some plantings there that will change that stark, barren look that, for the most cases, is the first view of our community for someone getting here. And if we have 7 miles worth of flowers along the interstate, that'll be an introduction to what we work so hard in the city to do. So with that, wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, CJ. Merry Christmas to you all as well. Dave Thomas, what do you got for us?
Well, I think CJ put it right where it needs to be. I echo everything he said. And our prayers and thoughts, especially with Pam and Mary as they go through some health challenges. And I certainly hope 2021 has a lot more positiveness than this last year did. It was a very challenging year for so many people. Again, I still think I'm disappointed in Congress that can't get their act together to help people that really, really need help. And I would just like to say one thing. Sometimes I don't think our House of Representatives or the senators delineate between people that really need help versus just putting everybody in the same pot. And I think that's very unfortunate. As sophisticated as we are as a society with our data, there ought to be a better way to distinguish people that need much more help than others. And I think that's a real challenge for us for the future in our country. I wish you a great Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you as well. Mr. Rigger.
All right. Last meeting I was remiss in not commending Jerry Arnold and Jay Holland for their recommendation and work on the access road at the event center. I think they championed that and really need to be commended for providing a path forward that's not painful to anyone. And CJ, when it comes to beautification, you're the man. I'm not saying you're beautiful, but the effort you take for our city and the surrounding areas, I tell you, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Amby, you're a jewel. The things you've been doing with the banks, not that the banks are bad, but their requirements, the insurance and the proof of this and the proof of that, and your patience and due diligence is phenomenal. And let's see, what else did I have? Let's see, Amby. I think we got it. Just best wishes to Mary and Pam. Of course, thoughts and prayers are there. And City Hall looks great with the decorations and the town itself. And Randy, our recorder, is fabulous. He'll tell you that himself. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thanks, Jack.
Ladies on Friday are not going at it for a while.
Merry Christmas to you and your family, Jack. Hope you have a nice holiday. Randy, what do you got for us?
That's a hard act to follow. I mean, everybody has done such a marvelous job in thanking and commending everybody. It's the Christmas spirit, I guess, that's amongst us. Filled our souls and our bodies here, I guess. So I echo that. A Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Keep Pam and Mary in our prayers, our thoughts moving forward. What an incredible city we have, and it's because of all of the people. It's because of our citizens. And what an incredible city, municipality we have, and it's because of, again, the people, the employees, everybody that's connected with the city of Buckhannon. I hope to have some news early in 2021. The WC, or the World Association, that is, the marching show bands, WAMSB, has promised us a decision early in January on whether or not we'll host the 2023 World Championships. So stay tuned.
Wow.
And with that, I'll say good evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas to you, Randy.
Did you get Pam?
Oh, Pam. Yes, we got Pam. Sorry, you're on.
Yeah, that's okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure can.
Okay. Okay. I want to give a shout out to Misty Post, who's been encouraging people to decorate their homes more than ever. Hopefully get everybody in the spirit and have a little bit more something to look forward to. She's got a competition going on Facebook, and I want to thank all the businesses. There's several businesses in town, and we're all having a trying time right now, that are giving prizes for first, second, and third places. And I encourage everybody to go drive around and see who all decorated, and it's giving people something to do with their children, that's not getting to do a lot right now. And I just want to give her a shout out for that. And also I want to thank everybody for their prayers and concerns for me and for Mary. And we're going to get through this, and everything will be better in 2021.
Hey, Pam, this is Thomas. I like what you said. You want me to be a judge?
Yeah, we need to do the day.
Blind justice.
Oh, yeah, Thomas, you can judge.
Say good night, Gracie.
All right.
Your turn, Robbie.
What's that?
Your turn.
My turn. Well, we certainly when we started off the year 2020, we had no idea what was coming to us this year, and 2020, everybody had a lot of high hopes and thought it was going to be a wonderful year, starting a new decade, and it sure was an interesting one. But there was a lot of bad this year, but not everything was bad. We've learned how to do some things differently and possibly more efficiently. And I think in some ways it's brought us a little closer together while we've been a little bit further apart. It's kind of interesting how that's happened. But as this is the last meeting of 2020, I think all of us would agree we're happy to put this one to bed. And we're looking forward to much better news in 2021. It's, we've been here, some of us longer than the 1st of July, but as a council together, we've been here since the 1st of July, so we put away 6 good months together so far. I really appreciate all of you all for all the work that you put in to make this community truly one of the very bright spots in our country. The country's had a trying time, not only with the virus, but with unrest this year, and our community remains a place of peace and unity and tranquility, and I'm very thankful for that. This week we saw what could have been yet another disaster on Main Street, and our fire department responded quickly. In watching that scenario, our public safety officers in this community, they've built what CJ likes to call cohesion with our community. I watched our firefighters with property owners and restaurant owners work together to pinpoint a problem and how to help make sure that it doesn't happen again. That's the kind of community we have. We pull together. We don't point fingers. We work together to solve the problems and make sure that we're better at the end. Last night we had a power failure. I'm very appreciative of Tim Pingley with Mon Power and Mon Power crews for getting here so quickly. It happened right at the foot of the hill by our hospital, the only major 24-hour medical provider in our county. Had no access to it for a while because the lines were down the road. They worked very, very quickly to get power restored and get the area cleaned up, and I'm very thankful for them and their work last night in the rain and snow conditions that we faced. I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, a very Happy New Year. I want to thank everybody for their support and for everything that they've done, not just sitting at the table, but as a community. We're going to get through this virus together, and this community is going to be stronger for it at the end. I believe that. So with that, I want to remind the council that we do have a brief executive session for a personnel matter following this meeting. So once we adjourn, we'll take a quick 5, 6, 7 minute break, and then we'll reconvene and then hopefully get out of here in just a few minutes. I would entertain a motion that we adjourn at 8:10.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Thanks, everybody.